Towson, Baltimore, and coordinators as well as football games all weekend. And, of course, the Terps taking back to the hardwoods on Thursday night to Ohio State, who beat Michigan State, who beat Maryland pretty handily last week. Terps look pretty good on Sunday night against Iowa. This guy is courtside and part of the Terps radio broadcast team. I know him as the Wizard, and I always love watching him play. He's been our pal for a quarter of a century around here. We welcome Walt Williams back on to WNST to talk about a Terps team that is, at least for now, taking care of business where they should. Right, Wiz?
Oh, absolutely, man. They're showing the strength of this team coming into the season was the depth, the length, the versatility, and those things are definitely showing themselves with the injuries that they have. And, just being able to seamlessly just flow right through that.
For the loss of Jackson and now the loss of Bender, Wiz, this has created a whole different set of circumstances for Turgeon than going into any of these Big Ten games the way he wanted to do it. This has really been, over the last 2 weeks, having to revamp a lot of the things he wanted to do with this program this year.
Absolutely. I mean, you just have to figure out what's your team's identity, their new identity. Definitely with Jackson and Bender gone, those are guys who are in the top 8 and 9 guys in the rotation. So it's definitely a significant hit. So now you have to figure out a new identity and how you're going to consistently win games. And it seems as though early on that they're concentrating getting Bruno going early. You see Cowan, he's being more aggressive and seeing the floor at a much higher level. So he's elevating guys, and you see in moments with Herter's being more aggressive. So these things are going to have to happen. You're going to need Nickens and Wiley to come off the bench and provide sparks and be consistent. And who knows, to Mike, so that he can contribute as well. And if he's able to do that, then man, that really takes this team to another level because it's not that he's going to have to dominate. He's just going to have to be out there and be positive, have a positive impact on the game. And not have a negative one and rebound the ball and defend. So he's a guy who got things on the offensive end. So it's the other things that he's going to have to concentrate on to get himself into the rotation.
Well, I mean, depth just isn't there right now. They're not 10 or 11 or 12 deep the way he would want to be. He used 8 players on Sunday night. Doesn't have much beyond that at this point. This is a real step-up point for even the young guys like Morcell, who's going to get a lot more minutes because of this, right?
Well, yeah, but I think the uniqueness of this team is that the depth that they had, it seemed like they all were almost like the same height. Guys from 6'7" on up, and but the versatility of the team, being able to have big guys guard smaller guys on the wing and things of that nature, so it allowed you to have several different kinds of lineups. So now when you're missing a guy like Jackson and Bender, 2 bigger guys that are versatile now, you say, well, where can I go to on my bench? And you have those type of guys on your bench, still guys with length, guys that are versatile, being able to play around the basket or on the wing. So you still maintain that, but you do lose your depth now. But, that was the strength of this team coming in, and that's why they should be able to weather the storm of having those 2 major injuries to some extent.
He is the Wizard, Walt Williams, joining us here, part of the Terps radio broadcast team. All of our WNST programming brought to you by our friends at Box Hill Pizzeria. The best crab cakes in Arthur County can now be shipped anywhere. It's more of a crab cakery, and I picked up 4 bottles of the salad dressing right during the holidays, so I'm in pretty good shape. You can go to boxhillpizzeria.com and learn more. Right around the corner is Lee Tessier's office. He and his team at Keller Williams American Premier Realty. You list your home with Lee Tessier, you risk nothing. His team will get your house sold. Go to Lee Tessier, that's TESSIER.com. Wiz, we talk about bringing the ball up and where we've been with Trimble here the last couple of years and sort of spoiled with a player of that caliber. And I don't know if there's a whole lot of oxygen for Anthony Cowan to maybe get the kind of minutes and bring the ball up the way he is, but not turning the ball over is such a critical part of this play in the Big Ten, especially on the road, staying in these games, trying to rebound. We've already talked about the depth issues, but one thing for sure, he's an emerging player, right? I mean, he's really become an outstanding point guard.
Oh, yes. Anthony Cowan has become an outstanding point guard. He's a guy who I thought early in the season was forcing it just a tad bit of trying to score, and especially around the basket. And it seems as though he's realized that, hey, he's not that big of a guy. When you get into that paint, you're talking about 6'10", 6'9", 7-foot guys. And so it becomes a very tough task to try to finish over top of those guys. So I think he's realized that, and you can see when he breaks his guy down as he's going to the basket, you can see his vision. You can see him seeing the floor rather than just zoned in on the basket. And, he created a lot of easy opportunities for his teammates last night. He didn't shoot the ball much at all in that first half, maybe 2, 3, 4 attempts at the most. But, he was effective down the stretch when they needed to get buckets. He finished around the basket. And I believe that the lane was open for him because of the damage he had caused earlier in getting into that paint and finding guys. And so later on in the game, the defense was a little bit hesitant coming to him, and he was able to finish later on in the game.
Walt Williams joining us here talking all things Terrapins. You mentioned Bruno Fernando. He's about as exciting a player as we've had around here in a period of time. And I mentioned that team 2 years ago with all that talent. He's a guy here that has a little more oxygen now, certainly getting the rebounds, certainly scoring points. He's a factor guy, and I think he brings a lot of energy. I know there wasn't a lot of energy in the building on Sunday. The kids are off campus right now. But as this season gets going and as they try to make a bid for March Madness and become a part of this, seeing him out there being sort of a little bit of a ham, but more than that, can sort of back it up with his play right now. He's an exciting ball player.
Oh, he absolutely is an exciting ball player. I mean, he plays with a lot of energy, but I think his energy level has even gone to another level over the last few games. Like I said earlier, you can see the team making a concerted effort, especially early on in games, to getting him the ball. Not previously, it was all penetration from one of the wing guys, and they might dish it to him at the basket, but they are making a concerted effort to throw it to him on the post and let him go to work on this guy one-on-one. He has an array of moves around that basket, jump hook, up and unders, hook shot with both hands. So at times, the only problem he has is at times he goes to moves a little bit too much. Sometimes it is simple for him, and he doesn't take that easy basket at times. But he's getting more comfortable with his moves, and if he's a guy that can be that dangerous down low and cause teams to have to double team him, that's going to make the game. He's going to be able to make his teammates better, along with being a dominant player. When you're in the game and you get the ball, that makes you play even harder. I thought he played with a lot of energy level from the get, but running up and down the court and not getting many attempts, that's tough, especially for a big man who's battling all game. So now that he's getting the ball even more, you can see him going to another level as the results of on Sunday night. He had a couple of very exciting dunks. He got off the ground really high, and so I think he's just gone to another level because he's more involved offensively.
We haven't had a big guy that can score quite like that around here, have we?
Yeah, it's been a while. He can hit the mid range as well. So he's pretty good in pick and roll as well. But also on the defensive end, block shots, alter shots. Just brings a lot of energy whenever he does anything positive out on the court. He gets the fans into it, and that's electric for the team, for the coaching staff, everyone. And so he's a huge part of energizing his team and ultimately helping them get wins.
A lot of people, Wiz, have said that Morcell's a Baltimore kid, and you know what that means. And I'm like, well, it means he's a guard who can rebound, but certainly the shooting is something that everyone's going to be focusing on and wondering if that can can and will get better for him. You played the game, for a long period of time as well. Some thoughts about Marcel and his sort of blending in. I mean, it's pretty big for a Baltimore kid to go down to College Park. This far in, 30 minutes a game. He's shooting a lot, needs to shoot a little better, and I think maybe with time that will come, right?
Well, yeah, sometimes guys who can't shoot, their form is a little funky, and it's just hard to correct that so late in the game. But he has good form. So I think it's about just putting in the reps, and he's a guy who's been beasting guys his whole career, it seems, and so he hasn't had to rely on a jump shot. But now you're at the college level; these guys are so big and athletic. If you want to be somebody who consistently put up numbers, you're gonna have to be able to hit shots from the outside. So I think he understands that. He talks often about putting in the work, and it doesn't happen overnight. And so as long as he's willing to put in the work, which he seems as he is. I have no doubt that he'll be a guy that develops a jump shot. He plays with so much moxie, so much intensity as well, something similar to Bruno. And he's the guy who whoever the best player is on the other team, normally Marcel's the guy guarding them from the 1 through almost like the 4. So, and not only is he out there just doing what the coaches tell him, he feels it inside. You can see the confidence coming off him, guarding even seniors. So he has no fear. He has a lot of confidence that he's a great player out there, and that's half the battle. You can see it. He wears it on his sleeves, man. So you can see it, and it's a great thing to see in such a young player. He plays the game the right way. He plays hard every second that he's out there, and so it's a joy to watch him play.
Is that a Baltimore kid to you? Is there you not being a Baltimore guy? Man, back in your era, we didn't get the Baltimore kids to come down to Maryland and play, right?
Who knows, man? I mean, in our day, they didn't publicize what guys came from as much, so I couldn't tell you what guys were from. When I watched the game, I just enjoyed watching the game, and that was it. And the first guy I really paid attention to where he was from was Adrian Branch and Lynn Byers. And so those guys kind of fueled me and kind of made me feel that I could walk in their footsteps. I can do what they did because they was from the same area that I was from. So that was when I first started to pay attention to that. Up until that point, I really wasn't into where guys were from. I just watched the game.
Well, we got local pride around here, man. Shipping Muggsy off to Wake Forest and all our guys going down to Georgetown back in your area. It's nice to have a St. Joe kid down there where we're running around with the Terps. Bino's excited about it. I promise you that. Walt Williams joining us here, the Wizard. Last thing for you, Wiz, we got Ohio State on Thursday night. It's a crazy conference and it's a crazy game, but boy, I mean, Michigan State just ran us out of the gym last week, and I'm like, wow, they're the best team in the country, and then they get run out of the gym by Ohio State on Sunday. I'm a little concerned about this Ohio State team on Thursday. It's an emerging, improving program out there in Columbus.
Well, I think that Michigan State is the best team in the Big Ten, but it's a number of teams that can knock them off. I think once you get past Michigan State, it's so much parity in the Big Ten this year. I thought the Terps had to play well in order to beat Iowa on Sunday. I thought that if they didn't play well, they would lose this Iowa team. The Iowa team could score inside and out. And, the Big Ten is just a tough conference, period. And so you're going to have to bring it every night. I thought Michigan State shot the lights out against us starting at the end of that first half on and throughout the second. And so, sometimes when you have games like that, you're so intense, and you're playing so well, you have a letdown at the next game. It was certainly no way they could duplicate the way they played against us. So to me, it was expected. I didn't think they would lose, but I thought it would be a drastically different type of game. But this Big Ten is tough. You're going to find that teams that are who are supposedly favored. I think you're going to see them lose a lot this year. So I think it's going to be up and down all season. I think that I don't think it's going to be, other than Michigan State, I think it's going to be a lot of parity at the top.
Big week coming up here as the Terps run off to Ohio State on Thursday, then Michigan on Monday, back home next Thursday against Minnesota. And I'll be courtside with Walt Williams as well as Chris Nockey and Johnny Holiday as they do Terps radio play-by-play on the Terps radio network. Wiz, always a pleasure to check in with you. Good tidings and good vibes right now. Maybe lowered expectations to some degree, but this is an exciting team to watch. It's been a lot of fun watching the Terps this year.
Oh, yeah, man, it definitely is. It's definitely exciting to watch. And just like you mentioned earlier, it's even more exciting to watch local players play for the university and get it done. I know you mentioned it earlier. One of my all-time favorite college players was Reggie Williams. Man, I really enjoyed watching him play at Georgetown, silky smooth guy. And so, man, it's always great to be able to keep the local talent home and watch them blossom.
At least you didn't go to Georgetown. We're all thankful for that, Wiz. Take care, buddy. Maryland will win. We'll see you on Thursday night down there in Columbus, man.
All right, you too.
You got it. Walt Williams doing all the radio play-by-play. He is the Wizard, of course. Ohio State Thursday night at 7, Michigan on Monday at 6:30, and then back down to College Park to the Xfinity Center at 8:30 next Thursday night against Minnesota. Speaking of Minnesota, Luke and I will be broadcasting from the Mall of America in Bloomington, Minnesota all week, 2 weeks from now as we get prepared for Super Bowl 52. Speaking of 52, Ray Lewis going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we think. I will be putting together a bus trip of biblical proportions at the Canton, Ohio for the weekend of August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th as Ray Lewis goes into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. All the details will be coming soon out on our website. You can email me for early information, nasty@WNST.net. I'm also out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. Don't forget, I'm out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. Our morning newspaper ships to your email inbox. That's each and every morning at 7 a.m. It's free of charge. You sign up one time, you get it every morning. It's all brought to you by Planet Fitness, where it's still $10 a month. Never any commitment. PlanetFitness.com. There is one right around the corner from you. If you're getting our morning newspaper, you're also going to be getting Purple Rain 2. I am releasing this for the first time online, all 24 chapters, one chapter a day, every day for 24 days out at WNST.net leading up to February 2nd, which, of course, is the 5th anniversary now. Now, it's been 5 years since our Super Bowl victory around here. That was a lovely day for a parade in New Orleans. That's all I can say. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.